I wanted to go ahead and bring you guys along on an install that I'm getting ready to do on my camper. We're going to modify the front door here, and we're going to install one of these RV locks on the front. RVLock carries a few different versions that are available, and they also carry them for left and right hinge doors depending on which model and what you're trying to put this on. So I went ahead and picked up the appropriate one that's going to be for my rig. I opted for the Trek lineup instead of like the V4 or their base model unit. I'll take a second to go ahead and tell you some of the specifics as to why I chose this one over the others that they have to offer in just a second here. After the first couple camping trips that we took, I kind of quickly realized that I wanted this to be on my list of top modifications that I went ahead and did when I got back home from the first two trips. Mainly just for the reason being, I feel like the convenience is going to be great compared to having to keep that key on me. Usually when we're out and about, I'm the one that keeps the key in my pocket, but if the kids beat me back to the camper or my wife needs to get in, I'm constantly having to dig for that key. Not a huge deal, I understand that. But also I wanted to be able to have the convenience where they knew the code as well. They could just tap that in there and I didn't have to be the only one locking the door everywhere we went. Now, like I mentioned, I went with the Trek model for my particular install. I have actually helped install one of those version 4s on a friend of mine's camper about a year ago. And it's a really good door lock. I really like that handle. In fact, that was the one I was going to get until I came across the Trek and I realized it had a couple features that I actually kind of liked that I would prefer over that version 4. Let's go ahead and take a second to talk exactly what attracted me to this handle specifically. The first thing that really caught my eye was the fact that this has a rechargeable battery on it versus the other one running on AA batteries. To me, I see that as a plus because you have the option here on the back to charge it with a USB-C. It's supposed to last for 3 to 6 months. It's really going to kind of depend on the usage and how often you go in and out of your rig, but it only takes like an hour or two to charge back up. The other cool thing about that is if you haven't thought about it and you don't just throw this thing on the charger for real quick and you get locked out, let's say it's at the beginning of the season and it sat dormant all winter. There's a USB-C port inside the handle here and you can actually plug this in from the front, recharge that battery enough that you can at least get back in your trailer and then you can finish charging that thing off or however you decide to do it. Now also keep in mind this does come with a physical key as well. So you've got some redundancies there to be able to get back in in the event that you're going to lock yourself out. The next feature that really kind of drew me to this one here was the fact that it does have the 10-digit keypad on it, whereas on the V4 it has 2 digits per button. That's not a huge deal, but what that offers you is while they both take a code from 2 to 8 digits, this actually gives you like 100 million different options you can pick from when you're selecting your passcode. But the biggest thing that I liked about this keypad was the fact that you only enter your code to get back into your camper. To lock it, all you're going to do is hit the bottom button down here and it locks it without having to enter that code. To me, that's just an added convenience. If when you're getting out of here, you hit the one button and you're off and going wherever it is you're taking off to. And then as I've already mentioned, it does lock the deadbolt and the handle simultaneously. That was still one of the bigger selling points to me as well. The RV locks come with key fobs as well, and this particular one is no different. They did upgrade the key fobs on the Trek version from the V4 version, so these are the little fobs that you get 2 of them. What's cool about this, now in my particular situation it doesn't really apply, but if you've got a toy hauler or a bigger fifth wheel and it's got 2 entry doors and you're going to buy 2 of these handles, you can actually program each of your handles to its own separate lock buttons on these little deals, or you can actually program it to where, say, your main door was unlocked from the top buttons, but if you wanted to unlock both doors simultaneously, you could hit this bottom set of buttons down here and that would open up both doors at the same time. Kind of cool, gives you some options. Then it's also on the top here, it's got this little panic button here. If you hold that down for a few seconds, it'll actually sound an alarm, like an audible tone. Now on the back of the handle here, there's a few subtle key differences, especially from the factory one. Now something that really kind of always bothered me on this door here is, and maybe it's just because I'm left-handed, I don't know, what hand do you shut the door with? For me, I pull it in with my right, so I'm always bringing my hand over like this to pull the door shut. Not a huge deal, but one of those things that just kind of felt quirky to me. On this one here, they've actually rotated the way you pull this shut. So when this actually sits on the door now, you're gonna stick your hand in and pull the door. And I feel like I'm gonna get a better bite on that handle when I pull the door shut. We'll see here in just a second when I get this thing put on. And then on the back side here, pretty simple as well. You've got your lock and unlock buttons. That's going to lock it from the inside of the rig. And then you've got a volume button here. It's got 3 different levels of volume as well as a mute. So you can have that on the highest setting, or if you don't want any sound at all, you don't want to disturb your neighbors, you can put it on the mute as well. But other than that, that's really all there is to this lock. Like I said, I think I could probably have this done and programmed in the next maybe 10 minutes or so. And all we got to do is take off the 4 Phillips head screws in my handle here, and then it'll install back with Allen heads that are all here. You've got 1 in the handle to start with, and then I've got 3 here on the counter. And they actually include the little T-handle Allen wrench that you need to be able to do this install. So with that being said, let's go and get this handle slapped on and see what this thing does. All right, I got my timer started. Let's see how long the install actually takes me to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this door handle taken out here real fast, get these 4 Phillips head screws out. Okay, just like that, we got the door lock out. So you can see here on the front side of the door, where my door is basically solid white, so when I put this on here, there shouldn't be any issues. But I have seen some other posts and things where when you put this door lock on, and let's say it's like a painted rig, you may have some spacing out here where they don't paint all the way to the edge of where the door handle sits. If that's the case, you can check out RV Door Lock. They've actually got a black decal you can stick over that can hide that, so it looks a little nicer and it looks more like a finished product for you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this door lock put in the door now. So I'll go ahead and slide this in from the front and get this piece in. Here we go. And then the next thing we need to do is get this plugged in. So I'll go ahead and see if I can get this cord plugged in real fast.
Welcome to RVLock.
A little sound and tone there. All right, so the next after that needs to slide in the hole, and that's really all there is to that. So we should just need to run these 4 Allen head screws into the door now. Now I'm gonna leave these a little on the loose side when I first do this originally, just to make sure the door handle is kind of lined up and straight on the outside of the door. I want to get a few of these started real quick though, so I don't lose the handle out the front. And then I think I can go ahead and just reuse the little striker plate here that was already on there. Yeah, so it's pretty much identical to what comes with it. Now obviously it does come with a brand new one of these as well, so you can swap out to that if you feel you need to. And then it also comes with a couple of the striker plates as well that go on the actual door frame itself. And there's 2 different options. One of them basically bumps it out just a little bit further, so if you've got a larger gap you need to cross, you would use the second option, which has a B on the plate, and that will give you a little less distance that you have to travel. The original plate looks identical to the first option that they want you to use. I should be able to just reuse what I've got here on the RV itself. So that looks good. The handle looks good and lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and sandwich these down now. Now you do wanna make sure these are tight. You also wanna make sure you're not indenting the door, because in the end the door is not solid. And if you tighten these down too much, this could not close properly and you might have issues there. So everything's snugged up. Let's go ahead and shut the door for the first time and see how it shuts. I dare say that actually shuts a lot better than the other handle does. Now I do notice that's got a little bit of jiggle to it, not the end of the world, but the door itself fitting in the frame, the kids have always been slamming this door shut because they can't get it. That handle was just so stiff from the factory. This one's actually got a really good feel to it. Okay, so we're basically at 8 minutes right now on the watch. I've got about 2 minutes here. I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and get the door handle code programmed in, as well as get those 2 key fobs done real quick before we hit that 10-minute mark. So we should be able to just hold the reset button temporarily here, and it should automatically say set your handle, so let's do that now.
Enter new code, then press lock.
Okay, so let me enter my code in real quick. Y'all can't see.
Enter new code, then press lock. New code accepted.
All right, so let me put my code in here and we'll see if that works. All right, that's unlocked, and then I'll hit lock button. It locks it. Okay, that part's done. Let's see if we can get these fobs done real quick. So to program the fobs, all you're gonna do is just tap the little remote trigger down here. It says remote right there.
Connect your remote.
And then we're just going to hit the button right here.
Remote connect.
That one's done. We'll hit it again now.
Connect your remote.
And we'll hit the second remote.
Remote connected.
So both these remotes are connected to my top set of buttons now. If I wanted to have the bottom buttons also work this lock, I could go through that process again and hit those 4 buttons, and then they'd all activate it. But I should be able to now hit the lock button. It locked it, hit the unlock. We're good there. Test the other remote. Lock. And unlock. So everything's programmed, hit the timer. 9 minutes and 24 seconds. I did it in under 10 minutes. So that's all there really is to the install. Let's go take a look at this thing installed now and get a feel for how it works. Okay, then last but not least, we'll see how it feels shutting the door from the inside. Yes, having that handle flipped where you shut that with your right hand feels a lot better to me. I'm not reaching over and backwards trying to pull that thing shut. So I think it's gonna take a little getting used to, because I've kind of already gotten used to the other way. And then honestly, you just open that up like so. Yeah. And then I can lock myself in from here. And if you didn't want to do that, you could still actually unlock and lock it manually from that lever down there as well. Pretty cool. And then we can adjust the volume by hitting the volume up or down button. Medium, low, there's mute, and then up,
Volume Volume setting high.
And there's your high setting there. So you can take your pick as to which volume we want to have as well. Pretty easy install. I had that thing done in under 10 minutes, and that was talking to you guys at the same time. Honestly, you could probably get it done in under 10 minutes if you've got any kind of DIY experience at all. Really happy to have this door lock on the camper. I think next weekend when we go camping again, it's going to be a huge upgrade to have. I'm extremely excited to have the added convenience on this door now. Not to mention, like I said, it actually feels better and more stable on the door than the factory handle did. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful in making a decision as to whether this Trek or maybe that version 4 is right for you. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. We'll catch you guys on the next one.